Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to NTV Celebrity Night Show. Today we have a very handsome and a very talented content creator with us. If I have to introduce him, I have to give a lot of adjectives. I have to add a lot of adjectives in front of his name. So he's a content creator, an actor, a photographer, explorer, and a creative director. So we would like to welcome the very talented Shubh Mukherjee to our today's show. Welcome, Shubda.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Feels very good to be here.
So now, whenever we have to talk about you, we have to give all these adjectives because only a performer or an explorer would not be enough to describe you. So since we are talking about the adjectives, tell us something uh, actually why it made you to add all these adjectives in front of your name. Why not only an actor or just a performer?
I think, time and experience make you do a lot of things. When I went to Bombay for the first time, I wanted to become an actor. Then, while acting, I realized that when we were between the action and the cut was actually where the film was being made. We think that everything was just in the action and the cut, and the minute they used to say cut, and I used to look around, and there was so much happening. The spot boys running, and so people setting up the whole scene and lighting and everything. And I just realized that filmmaking is a lot more than just good looking faces on screen and actors on screen. And that's when I realized that, oh shit, production is so amazing too. That's when I got the interest of production, and that's how I got into going behind the camera as well. So I think the hunger for learning, the hunger for wanting to tell stories is why I probably ended up adding a lot more adjectives than I myself had ever imagined to have.
But among all of these sectors where you have been working for last 12 years, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
last 12 years, uh, which one is the most closest to your heart?
I think honestly, for me, uh, as I call myself now, I call myself a storyteller, and that's because in the last few years, a lot of content creators and a lot of storytellers and a lot of filmmakers have experimented, and I've seen some of the biggest actors from Bollywood have also come down to doing things like opening up a YouTube channel because they feel that they find way more platforms of expression. So I personally feel that as a storyteller, I could be holding the camera, I could be directing an ad film, but I think I get the maximum high when a piece of my work is seen by people and it's related to. So if I go and shoot a piece in the jungles of Africa, and when I find an audience, so I think I, I I I get the maximum amount of high when a content piece that I've created is seen and appreciated. So I enjoy being behind the camera a lot. But then there are times I also enjoy being in the front and blabbering because I think I have too much energy to keep it all behind the camera. A lot of it comes out in front of camera. So that is why I end up doing multiple things.
Nice. So it's been 12 years.
Yeah.
So tell us something about your journey. What made you feel that you fit in this industry? Because I know that you have studied in software engineering as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
from being a software engineer to being a storyteller, tell us
Yeah.
something about the journey.
So I think the journey has been very interesting. The journey has had a lot of facets to it. So I started off my journey in films and entertainment as a dancer with Shamak. And at that point in time, we used to see all the glamour and glory of films of Bollywood because we used to do a lot of these IFA shows and Filmfare Awards. And then I was part of the dancing company when Dhoom 2 was happening. And then, so, I got a chance to sort of work around these people. And I realized that, oh, definitely, this is definitely what I want to do in life. Uh, then I acted in films, then I acted in TV for a bit. So I think the journey's been very, very interesting, and it's got a lot of terrains that I've crossed, whether it was production or directing, till the point today where I direct ad films and campaigns for a lot of good brands across the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a very, very interesting journey, and I've really one thing that I've done is I've learned through it. I mean, uh, there are aspects and fields where I probably would have known a lot more about 7 years back. But in the last 7 years, there are seven more fields that I've garnished knowledge about. Although, I mean, it's around the same field, but the journey has been very, very interesting, from a background dancer to an actor to a
Yeah.
filmmaker to a producer to having my own content company today. I think it's been a great journey, and I feel that it's just begun. I mean, I'm ready to have another 12-year journey again. So I think it feels very fresh and new.
Definitely. So since we were talking about Dhoom 2, I know that
Mm,
you have, as a part of the of your training, you have worked in Tare Zameen Par, Dhoom 2, and the award-winning movie Amu.
mm,
So, and nowadays we don't see you in working on those commercial movies.
mm.
So,
That's because I took a sabbatical from nothing but understanding what I genuinely enjoy. It was about me finding my own art form. For me, it was very important to find the right art form which I completely relate to. Uh, you know, there's one part about being part of movies. There's one thing about acting in films. There's one thing about directing films. But then while we do that, there are patches. Everyone's not directing every single day. Everyone's not acting every single day unless you're doing 10 films a year. But in between these times is when you realize, okay, I really enjoy doing this. I really producing a film. I really want to do this. So the idea was to initially take a break from mainstream commercial films
mhm.
and actually learn and understand the craft way better. And I felt that the only way I could have done it, I'd never been to film school. I'd never gone to learn under any director. I don't belong to the film industry per se. So for me, to get into every process myself was the only way I could have actually told myself of how I could train myself to be a better filmmaker and a better producer in the future. So that is where I got the last 7 years of my journey in, where I got a lot. I did a lot behind camera. I used to always do these one-off stints on camera. I did a Bengali film. I did some TV shows. But again, that was just out of choice and out of whenever I was free from the other process that I was a part of, which was actually this whole process of filmmaking. Going out and doing shoots. I shot documentaries. I shot some really serious stuff at the global scale. I shot ad films across the world. So for me, that process was very important. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I still feel the journey is just begun. I maybe not. But yeah, I might just be part of a few more projects where I do come in front and am a part of commercial projects too.
So since you said that you don't have any experience on like studying in any acting school or
Yeah.
studying in any school where we can learn direction as well, but I have
Mm.
heard that you went to LA for joining acting school, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I so I was doing I remember I was so last film I directed, last sort of commercial film that I directed. So it was premiered at the Centerpiece. It was premiered as a Centerpiece in New York. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that is when I realized that they really value the way films are created. And I really always wanted to go to some sort of a film school to understand what the training process of films and acting is all about. And that is when I'd taken a break from India and I'd made the move to LA for a bit. And I traveled there considering doing some theater. So I was a part of one of the most prestigious acting schools in the world called the Lee Strasberg School of Performance. And that actually didn't just change my mind as an actor, but changed my mind as an explorer. I mean, that taught me that you need to enjoy these experiences and you need to let your expressive mode out, whether it's as a filmmaker, as a creator. A lot of actors suffer from the problem that when they're not acting,
Mm-hmm.
they aren't doing anything. But I think over the years that's changed for a lot of actors, for a lot of creators, for a lot of creative people. When you're not doing something, you still let your expressive mode be on, and you still create. Maybe you just put a camera in front of you and you start acting and you start creating a piece and upload it on YouTube, and maybe that just goes viral. So the avenues have changed. Filmmaking and acting and all of this has changed. The audience is everywhere right now. I mean, I'm sitting here in India, you're in Malaysia, we're doing a show right now. I mean, so much has changed. It's become so easy. So yes, LA was fun. Going to that acting school was fun. So apart from just learning acting there and brushing up that, it taught me to actually go out, explore, and live my experiences. Because it's only through experiences that you become a better actor or a performer or a storyteller or a filmmaker.
Right. So I know that you work as a teacher as well, as a performing art teacher,
Yeah.
and you have experience in studying in school in LA as well. So these are two different things. Being
Mm-hmm.
a teacher in Southeast Asia and being a student in LA.
Yeah.
So how do you define this? Like when you are teaching your students and whatever you have learned from the finest acting school in the world. So how do you deliver this to your students? Because uh, these two are completely two different ground, two
Mm-hmm.
different atmosphere, two different culture. But then again, the main thing is to learn or to love acting.
Yeah. So I think performing arts is a very vast field, and it's a field filled with emotional expression, and that's the one thing that was common in LA or when I was an instructor back in the day in India. I mean, you've got to elicit emotion whether you're, and when I was an instructor, I was a senior dance instructor with Shamak's Institute. Now, when I was a part of that, I would teach kids, and I would also end up teaching Bollywood stars. This is way back in the day, maybe somewhere around the 2006 2007 period. So the one thing common across the world is that we all speak the language of expression, whether it's in the West or it's here in Southeast Asia. And I think I was trying to be connected through that one single line of singularity and that one line of thought where expression is common in every part of the world. I mean, we cry the same way, we laugh the same way, and I think life's all between those two things. So as long as you understand and you know how to teach, how to emote, and basically it's about yourself and that barrier which tells you that you cannot emote, but you can. And as a teacher, it's just about breaking that barrier. And I think that's what my teachers back there did. And that I think, so I had gone to my acting school way later after, when I was a teacher. So I was a teacher way back in 2006 2007 and that period, but I had gone to film school in almost around 2011. But I think this is the one, I mean, getting your question right, I think this is the one common line and thread is that we all express in the same way. I mean, love is love everywhere around the
Oh,
world.
so basically, you have been a teacher first and then a
Yeah,
student.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. When
Sorry,
I
I
was
didn't
back
know
in the day,
about
when
it.
I was an instructor, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So I was.
I'm so sorry, I didn't know about it.
No, no, no,
That's
no. I
nice
mean,
because
but that
Mhm.
question, I mean, answers something interesting as well, which I guess I
Because
will share.
most of the time we prefer to be
Mhm.
a student first, and then
Yeah,
we prefer to spread that knowledge to others.
yeah,
So in
yeah.
your case, it's quite different.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was a performing arts student. I became a teacher, and I taught a lot of people, including back in the day. I was a kid. I was just around my 18, 19 when I was teaching, and it used to feel very interesting to teach Bollywood stars at that point in time,
Yeah.
and tell them how to get it right. So it used to be a great feeling. And then when you came back to your class and you used to take classes for kids, and it would be the same feeling. So the idea of sharing that joy and art of expression is something that made it very very interesting.
Nice. Since we are
Yeah.
talking about schooling and teaching, I know
Mm-hmm.
that you have been a, TEDx speaker for 2 times,
Mm-hmm.
and so tell us the experience of being there.
So I
It's
think
it's a big thing, yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was interesting. And I mean, when I got the first time that I was told that I'm going to be on a TEDx platform, it was very very interesting. And this was after I had shot for a TV series called Trip with Me, which was very 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 interesting. I think it was one of the most interesting things I've done in my life as a creator or as a filmmaker. So I had traveled across India across 30 days non-stop,
Yeah,
and we
I was
made a
actually coming to that after
yeah,
that.
we made a
Yeah.
documentary series. So I'm not going to steal the thunder. I'll actually let you be at that. But then that's how TEDx had happened. So I got a call from these guys, and they told me that we want to get you on the TEDx platform, and
Mhm.
we want you to talk about your experience, and we want you to share your journey and how so they'd given me a basic topic. But when TEDx happened for the first time, it was so overwhelming, and they had so many reference videos, and they had told me so many things that almost felt very, very overwhelming, that I started rehearsing my what I was going to say bit too many times. And when that happened, I mean, I spoke so much that I'd almost lost my voice on the day of the show. So yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. It was a great learning experience, and it felt very nice to be on that platform where people want to hear you speak. So to get an opportunity to be that person on that carpet, they have this red sort of circle which you can't cross while speaking, because apparently the audience gets distracted. So, and I am a kind of a person who doesn't sit in one place for too long. He's always on the move. So yeah, it was a little, it was mixed between being tough and being fun. So yeah, TEDx has been fun, and I'd love to be part of the TEDx experience again. Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about like you were talking about the 30 days. You
Yeah.
travel across the India for 30 days, and then you made a travel series.
Yeah.
And when we were discussing before the interview, when we were just having a chit chat, I somehow I felt like you do love traveling. You do love exploring a lot.
Yeah.
So from from being a dancer to an actor to a director, and then into this travel series.
Hmm.
So what made you do this travel series? Like, was it for something commercial, like you have to do it because someone has offered you, or it is something that you felt like you want to uh, you want to show people how beautiful India is through your stories?
I think the latter, and I think you've got it right. So just before the travel series, I was traveling very constantly. I was traveling every week, every month, and I was traveling miles. And I was in Kenya one night, and then I was in Canada, and then I was in LA, and then I was in Spain, and then I was back in India, different parts of India, because we were filming different campaigns, and I was doing a lot of documentary filming across the world. And every time I would travel, I would just go and capture these small, 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 small experiences, which I really enjoyed experiencing. And I thought that if there was a way I could make others experience what I experienced. So whether it was a sunset in Toronto, or it was the street food in New York, or it was crazy scenery in Spain, or kids jumping into the water in Thailand, it was a lot. And I realized that why would it be a bad idea for me to come back to India and actually do something like this, where I just travel, and I travel to different corners of the country, and there's obviously going to be a lot that will happen during that period. I'm going to meet different people, I'm going to see different cultures, I'm going to see different people doing different things for their livelihood, I'm going to see different terrains, I'm going to see the country. And let's have a camera actually filming this, and what if we actually create some great memories and experiences, and that becomes something very, very interesting for the audience to watch, and sort of experience the experience. That's what we called it. That's what we call the tagline. So I mean, it got very interesting, and I traveled across India in 30 days, and we captured it. But to our surprise, our initial idea was that okay, we'll travel and we'll capture A, B, C, D. So we want to go to this town in Kerala, which is called a twin town, and which has only twins that take birth there. So and we're going to go to the topmost part of India. We're going to go to the borders. We're going to go to the Indo-Pakistan border. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And in between all of that, there was a lot of unexpected things that were happening. Now these were things that made the show really interesting. So we met with an uncalled for accident. We saw people on the streets at 2 in the morning doing crazy, black magic practices. So a lot was happening on the road, and I think that's what made the show really interesting. And when we came back with the footage and we edited and uploaded it, people were surprised to see that this is India. People didn't believe this was India. There were parts which were so beautiful, there were parts which were so touching, there were parts which were so humane. And I think that's one thing. I had done it with a very, very clean heart, that I wanted to travel India and I wanted to show my experiences to the world, because I just felt that there's a lot that happens when a person travels, and a lot of memories are made, a lot of experiences are created, and that's what I wanted to share with the world. And interestingly, when the show released, it got millions and millions of views across Facebook and YouTube, and it just got very popular. I used to get mails from people in Spain saying that this content has inspired them to travel. And the kind of mails I've got, and that's how TEDx even happened. So people were very inspired with the fact that I did this. People set an example on the basis of what I had done, and I think that really felt nice. I mean, it felt that it was worth the effort and worth the whole creation. So yeah, Trip with Me was a great experience, and that opened a lot of avenues, and people and brands wanted to collaborate with us in the same perspective of filmmaking, like just documentary filmmaking, different cities, travel. So a lot of content developed
Yeah,
and
because
happened.
to me, somehow it has it changed the pattern of the usual traveling
Yeah,
documentaries. Like when
yeah,
where
yeah.
you go, you give the information of hotels and
True.
places, and then you
Yeah,
you visit that places, have food
yeah,
and something. But I felt like in your case, that was
yeah.
more of about telling the stories, telling the inspirational
Absolutely,
stories that we don't see as a traveler, that we don't see. So what was your
absolutely.
starting point? Did you cover all the cities? Like
Yeah,
India
we traveled through
is
through through
country.
29 states in 30 days,
Mhm.
and the idea was that none of us would have phones, none of us would have any contact with the outside world. So if we get caught up in the middle of the night, in the middle of the road, we will have to sort it out ourselves. If we lost our wallet, we will have to figure out a way back home. If we didn't get food, we didn't get food. I mean, we had no help from the outside world, and we had to. That was the whole concept. And I mean, it's been very close to my heart, and we are still now working on other avenues through
Mhm.
that concept, and we want to do this in different countries, and we want to do this in different continents as well, and want to make and create a property which is something where people can, every time they want to actually see the real experience of what happens in a particular place, they just need to watch this series if we've been there already. And that was the whole idea. So we're trying to build that community, and I hope one day we can say that we've covered more countries in the same way.
Nice. I'm really looking forward to it. As a traveler, I love traveling. I have
Yeah,
traveled many places, but
yeah,
uh, whenever it comes to watching a travel series, I always look for something different, something that
yeah.
is not that has not been seen in other documentaries or in other videos. That's
All
what
right.
I look for. So I would definitely request all of our viewers to go through it, watch it, and
Yeah,
I believe
definitely, that'd be
you'll love
great.
it because India is beautiful and you have portrayed India in a different way. So
True.
so definitely watch it. And now I just want to ask you something out of curiosity. Uh, from being an actor, producing these, I mean, like documentaries for brands like Standard Chartered, BMW, and Red Bull, and and many more,
Hmm.
and then directing or working in a travel series.
Hmm.
And before that, you had made music videos as well with Honey Singh and some other very known faces.
Yeah.
So to me, music video is something where you have to show a detailed story within
Hmm.
a very short period of time.
Yeah.
It's a storytelling, and as you say that you love to tell stories, then
Hmm.
again, music video is to some extent very commercial. And when you're working with performers like Honey Singh, it has to be very colorful, very
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
So what made you work in a music video?
I think so. At that point, when I had done music videos, I just knew that okay, this was going to be trying to do something different. It is something that I had not done too often, and I haven't done many. I had done a few, and all of them were with big names, whether it was RDB or Honey
Mhm.
Singh or Shamak. I had directed and produced these sort of music videos. Now the idea was for me to understand how different is it from a film set. I wanted to know, okay, I've been on movie sets, and on movie sets this is what happens on a music video set. For me it was, and I had a sense of background because when I was a background dancer, it was, we were doing music videos all the time, whether it was for movies, but in movies when we're shooting songs, it's like shooting an independent music video for movies. So I had that know-how. I just wanted to see how it was going to be to execute something like that on my own. And to my surprise, all went out, I mean, very well. I mean, the Honey Singh video crossed, I don't know how many million views, and so did the RDB video. So I think the music video vibe is really fun. We know that we have 2 days, we know that we have 3 days, we know that we have to make the video look really groovy,
Mhm.
we know that we have to make it trend setting. We know that, I mean, we already have a brief. in a story, when we're making a movie, we know that okay, we have to stick to the story as much as we can and as much as possible. But when we have to sort of we're creating a music video, it's all about setting that vibe to the track. We have a track and we have to set that vibe. And I think it's been fun every time I've been on a music video set. And yeah, working with people like Honey Singh and RDB, it's been a great experience because these are people who I've worked with very closely. So it's fun because they also bring in their element to the set, to the whole vibe, to the whole energy. So yeah, I mean it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So we are almost the end of the show, but I asked this question to all of my guests about their
Yeah,
first work. So your
yeah,
first feature film was Shakal Pe Matja. So
yeah,
since we
yeah,
are at the very end, so I want to start from the beginning of your career. So
yeah.
from Shakal Pe Matja to being in Devdas, it's a
Mhm,
Bengali movie where you're working in, at the as a lead
mhm,
as a lead. So from Shakal Pe Matja to Devdas, so how do you define it? And I would really like to know about your first feature film because these are like our first child. So yeah.
yeah. So my first feature film which I acted in was a film called Amu, where I was assisting and I did a very tiny role, but that was my first experience. I still remember that. And then obviously I did a film called Asma, which I acted in. Shakal Bhi Muja was my first film as a director, so that
Yeah.
honestly is very special because I was directing it, I was acting a part in it, and I was directing some of the best actors in Bollywood even today, whether it was Saurabh Shukla, Raghuveer Yadav. I was dealing with a lot of great actors, and to have them on your set was really fun. I personally feel that my journey has been very interesting to the fact that I did a lot of big things in the start of my career, and so when I do small things, I do them in a slightly bigger way. That's how I I do things. Today, when I'm trying to create a small YouTube video, I still try and have and keep that element of doing it in a nice big way. I am not never creating content for okay, maybe 10 people are going to watch it. Every time I pick up the camera, or I act in front of a camera, or I even feature in videos, or I am always doing it with that perspective that tomorrow the world may or may not watch it, but it's going to go out to the world. And I think being in films, a lot of people start from digital content, go to films. They start from theater, they go to films. My journey started from films, so it was very different. I mean, I saw the bigger picture at the very start of my career. I saw the big sets and the big cameras at the very start of my career, which made me choose that oh, why are such stories being said in such a big way? We could do it in a way smaller setup. And that's how I turned into a producer and a director. So I think the journey has been very informative, filled with a lot of guidance. And I feel that there's something very common about me from that first film to the way I am today. And I think that's my earnest energy to want to tell stories and be a part of it. And I hope I can retain this. And if 5 years later we do another interview and I'm able to tell you that I still have the energy that I had during Shakal Be Majja, and I had it when I was making my travel series, and I have it even now when I'm making maybe another feature film, and making it for the bigger audience and doing a commercial film, like you said.
So is Devdas your first Bengali movie?
Yeah, it's my first. Devi is my first Bengali film. Yeah, and before that, I'd done a short film with again a lot of big names. Like there was Zeenat Aman in the film, and there was Rajesh Sharma. But that was a shorter film. But yeah, Devi is my first Bengali film. First Bengali commercial feature film that I had done. And yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's a matter of choice and a matter of comfort. The day I'm comfortable and the day I know that okay, this is a story maybe I want to create, produce, or maybe even act in for that matter, I'll do it. I mean, for me it's about finding that zone comfortably where I know that I can be a part of telling the bigger picture, and I think that's where we all are.
Right. So I just have one last question. Since you have worked in many sectors in this industry, do you have any plan to work in OTT platforms? Because nowadays it's a vital I would say it's a vital bridge to
Mm-hmm.
connect with your audience. And in this
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, the OTT platforms are like, they are like the lifesavers, I would say.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. In fact, one of the shows I did was I did an episode for one of the shows, and it was on an OTT platform. We are now building content for OTT platforms. In fact, we've been working on a couple of scripts to work on the OTT platforms. And while the OTT platforms, which are fiction or non-fiction driven content platforms like the Netflix and the Amazons, I think there will be a future where a lot of good creators will also emerge out of YouTube, which is why YouTube now has a YouTube studio and a YouTube Red setup. So I think a lot of content is going to be consumed, and I also feel that good content creators will make a mark, and they will make a mark in a way that they will be here to stay for a while. And it's going to get very interlinked. Like, I see a lot of Bollywood actors now on YouTube. I see a lot of YouTubers now in Bollywood movies.
Right.
So I think the gap is being bridged. You understand what I'm saying? It's becoming one world of entertainment, one world of storytelling. There was a time when TV was known as TV and film was known as film. But today, like I said, I'm seeing YouTubers in movies. I'm seeing movie actors on Netflix doing documentaries.
Right.
I'm seeing movie actors opening up their YouTube channels. So I think the avenues have changed. The way people think has changed. As long as they have a story to tell, the medium won't really make a difference. I mean, people are listening, the audience is watching. So you just need to tell your
exactly.
story.
Like, we have seen performers or actors like Anil Kapoor or Sushmita Sen working in OTT platforms, and then we have seen YouTubers working in movies.
Absolutely. And now it's going to get just bigger and bigger. I mean, in the next coming years, I was reading an article which said so many actors have been picked up from YouTube. I mean, a lot of actors are basically YouTubers who are now acting in movies because they know, that they've
also,
created an amazing audience.
Sorry to interrupt. Like, also, big movies, due to this pandemic, they are being released in OTT platforms in Amazon or Netflix. So it's a big thing, and I would agree with you that it's a one world that is connecting all the dots. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's become something where, you have a good story and you just need to find a platform and go out there and tell your story.
So thank you so much for being with us today. Before I end the show, I would request you to come to Bangladesh and do a documentary. Since you are into travel series, Bangladesh is beautiful as well. And I always believe that Bangladesh and India, it's just the border, but we are like, the culture is same.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to some extent, the language is same. So I would request you to come over our country, and I believe that you will have a lot of things to work on.
Absolutely. I really look forward to that opportunity, and I hope that once this pandemic ends, I'm able to actually pick up my gear, the idea of telling good stories out of Bangladesh and go out there and actually create a great story.
Thank you so much. We are actually looking forward to have you with us, and thank you so much for being with us. I hope that in future we will have you again for a chit chat. And I know that you have a very busy schedule and you made time for us. So thank you so much.
Certainly. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for this. It was wonderful being here.
Same here. And thank you so much to our viewers who have been watching us every week. And tell us who you want to watch next week, and we will try to bring that guest. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being with NTV.
আপনার অনলাইন অভিজ্ঞতা পাল্টে দিতে ntvbt.com বিশ্বের যে কোনো প্রান্ত থেকে যে কোনো সময় সরাসরি দেখতে পাবেন NTV। পড়ুন, দেখুন, মন্তব্য করুন ntvbt.com।